On today's episode, we are going to talk about Google's new product called Opal. So let's dive right into it. First, you'll want to go to opal.withgoogle.com and see if you can log in and have access to something like this. If you do not have access, log into your administrator console or have your administrator do it and look up early access apps. Make sure it's set for you for on, right? Since I have a small company, I just turn it on for everybody. So let's go back to Opal. Okay. Now we've got these templates that we can use. We'll show you a little bit later in the video how to use Claymation. You basically load up a picture and you say, hey, give me a Pixar style video of this, and it'll make a little 8-second video of it. So that's pretty cool. You do a social media post. You can do learning from YouTube, or it'll take a YouTube video and quiz you on it. Okay. But for now, let's try create new. Okay. So I've already created some prompts for this. So let's try this one that I've already created. And let's go ahead and run it. While that's running, I'll tell you a little bit about the app. Okay, so let's build this app, right? So what I've prompted here is basically I've asked Google to create an application that asks for the input of the person's first name, and then it asks for the person's last name, and then it asks for the city and state they're born in. What it then returns after it looks up on the web is the most famous person with the first name. For my example would be Stan. Okay. And this will be a tough one. The most famous person with the last name Jesenowski, if it can even find it. And then the most famous person from Decatur, Indiana. So right now, let's take a look over here. As you can see, it has these user input boxes, right? That's designated with that kind of like equal sign there. So you can see it's asking me user input of first name, last name, birth city, birth state. And then you see it's generating things here, right? So it's going out to the web and it's actually generating, it's doing research on the web for the first name, most famous last name, and the most famous city that you're born in, right? And then here, the last piece is it generates a report for you, okay? So let's see how this runs. Let's see how we do, okay? So we're almost there. It looks like we're right here. It looks like it's still researching my birth location. So if I had to guess, I would guess my first name's going to be pretty easy. My money's on Stan, and Lee, last name Lee, and that's the creator of Spider-Man. So every time I've ever done a generator like this, that's always been the answer, actually. Jesenowski, it'll probably be just, it can't find it, or it'll be some, there we go. There's the answers. Let's see. The most famous person named Stan is, like I said, Stan Lee. A little bio there. That's pretty cool. Oh, it's got some other notables. Stan Laurel from Laurel and Hardy. Stan Musial, the great Stan the Man from St. Louis Cardinals. Lots of names there. That's pretty cool. Famous Jesenowskis. All right. Some of this is new for me. Jerzy Jesenowski. Looks like a famous Polish writer, playwright. Okay, Alfred Jesenowski. Lots of them. Holy cow. A lot of writers. Maybe I should write. Probably do better in my videos. Okay. Okay, so this is pretty cool. We've got down here, we have got famous people from Decatur, Indiana. And I knew this one was going to be it because the guy wrote and directed the movie Hoosiers. He also did Rudy and Hill Street Blues. So that's pretty cool. That's David Onspall. Let's see. Luke Gross. Wow, that's pretty cool. Ed Coyle, ironically, used to be one of my neighbors. He lived about 6 houses down from me. Really nice guy. Here's a bizarre story. He became the GM of the Detroit Pistons because he was an accountant for the Zollner Piston Corporation. So by default, he just became the general manager of the NBA Fort Wayne Pistons. So anyhow, pretty cool. Let's go and try another program. And what we're going to do is we're going to create another new one and check this out. What we're going to do is we're going to give it this prompt, right? Because I create quite a bit of YouTube and I'd like to save a little bit of time. So what I'm going to do is the following. Okay, I'm going to write a program that basically I'm going to input a transcript, and then from that transcript, it's going to create a title and a description for YouTube, and it's also going to create a Facebook post about my new video and also a LinkedIn post. So let's get started on this. All right, I'm going to upload a transcription. So upload from this device. Okay, let's try one of the most recent ones I've done here. Let's do this Gemini one. All right. So this video that I did was about tie in an N8N workflow to a Gemini LLM for free, actually. Pretty cool. Okay, I'm going to upload a picture. So hopefully it makes a thumbnail of this. Okay. And let's wait for this thing to work. So now what we should expect to see is basically it's going to read the entire transcript. So that was about an 8-minute video. Okay. And then you can see over here, it had me input the transcription text and then the thumbnail, right, image. And that was just a picture that I uploaded. And now you can see it's generating the YouTube thumbnail, right? And it's going to display all the content. It's kind of a web page. So let's take a look at how it does it. Okay. So let's see here. We've got, all right, here we go. Automate LinkedIn posts with Google Gemini and N8N. Okay. So it basically, here we go. There's the title it wants me to use, right? Okay. So then it gives me a description for my YouTube. And right here, we've got what it can do, what it wants me to put in for my Facebook, right? And now down here, it has what it wants me to put in for LinkedIn. And then there you go. That's pretty cool. It's completely unique. And then you've got a thumbnail for me generated automatically, N8N and Google, little logo there. That's pretty cool. So this just shows you a little bit about this. Let's go back and let's talk a little bit about some of these other templates. One of the other cool ones is this Claymation over here. These take a while to run, so I went ahead and ran a couple already off of pictures that I have already created. And let me pop those up and show you what those look like. So here's one. It was originally a picture of a crab that I took. It's an Atlantic ghost crab. I took a picture. See, right there. It does a little dance. So basically, that's about it. That's all I've got for today's little episode. If you'd like to try it, once again, that's opal.withgoogle.com. All right, until tomorrow, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe below. See ya. Bye.